राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदनंदना ब्रज जनरंजना, यशोदनंदना ब्रज जनरंजना, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदनंदना ब्रज जनरंजना, यशोदनंदना ब्रज जनरंजना, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदनंदना ब्रज जनरंजना, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, जय राधा श्याम सुंदरा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। जय गो प्रेमानंद हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद ब्रह्मंस परिव्राज काचर अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत संस्कृत की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचर अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमय यमुनमयी की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Allorista se mulli Hare Krishna. Allorista se mulli Hare Krishna. Allorista se mulli Hare Krishna. Alloris. Allor Shri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you for joining. So we are discussing today Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, verse number 32. I think we'll just cover one verse only. A very nice verse, but a lot of pastimes to cover. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टाप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी हरि ओम तत्सत् Chapter 9, Most Confidential Knowledge, verse number 32. मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य एकेषु उपापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रा तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य एकेषु उपापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रा तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् मामि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य एकेषु पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रा तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम्. Word to word, Mam of me is certainly Partha, O Sanapruta, Vyapasritya, particularly taking shelter, those who, Api, also, Syu are Papayonaya, born of a lower family, Striya, woman, Vaisya, mercantile people, Tata also Sudra, lower class men. Te api even they, Yanti go, Param to the supreme, Gatim destination. Translation by Javenge Sesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. O Sanapruta, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaisyas, merchants, and Sudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. Please repeat. O Sanapruta, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaisyas, merchants, and Sudras, workers, can attain supreme destination. So sometimes people get bewildered by reading this, especially women, by writing in this way. But the underlying context is different. So we will try to understand why it is mentioned like that. So now let us understand this verse. Om Jnanatimrandasya Gnananjan Sarakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय गौर भक्तों की जय. So in this verse, this is the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, most confidential knowledge, verse number 32 to 34, but we'll just cover only one verse because of the time limit. So this section is called My Devotees Are Always Purified or Delivered. That is the section, today's section, and first verse here clearly is mentioned. Mam hi Partha. Lord Krishna is speaking. Oh, Prudha, especially he could have called Arjuna, but in relation with especially Aunt Kunti Maharani, who's in relation with Krishna. So that's why he's using that word in loving relationship. So, Mami Partha Vyapasritya, one who takes shelter of my devotee. Then what will happen? Episyo Papa Yonaya. Even if they are lower birth, but this is the general category of general thinking in this material world. People think in this way. That's why that categories are used. It's not that Vaisyas are lower category. It's not that male or female is lower category. It is not that. It is a general consideration. People have these kind of opinions. So that's why on that category. But we'll see the Acharya's commentary and Prabhupada's commentary on this. Mami Partha Vyapasite, EPC Yo Papa Yona, Striyo Vaisyas Tata Sudra, called out specifically women, Vaisyas, Sudras, Tata Sudra, Tepi Anti Parangatim. One can go back to Godhead, supreme destination, by taking shelter of the pure devotee. So, Prabhupada mentions in his purport that In this material world, there are distinctions. Somebody is rich, somebody is poor, somebody is Vaisya, somebody is Brahmana, somebody is Kshatriya, somebody is male, somebody is female. This on the husband is the master, wife is the servant. All kinds of conceptions and ideas and so many things people have. But here, but in the spiritual concept, in the spiritual culture, Lord Krishna is speaking that there is no distinction in the spiritual concept because it is not based on the body, it is based on the spirit soul. So that's why that first of all is being removed, because everything is not, because sometimes people think that this is by this, somebody is rich, somebody is poor, somebody is getting a, male body or a female body or whatever. They are thinking this is by accident. That is just like sometimes people are by naturally they are rich man's son. It is not accidental. Nothing is accidental in this world. Anything you take, nothing is accidental. While buying grocery, you go while taking and something falls down. Nothing is accidental. Even that falling down also. When you do charity, sometimes things may get wasted. Nothing is accidental. Everything is based on karma, what we have done and how we accumulated. So all so much intricate. Karmana daivanetrena jantor deho bhavate. Just like in the company, anybody getting promotion, they are being checked. It's not that accidentally somebody gets promotion. They will be checked, taken a feedback, references from others, how he performed his work. Accordingly, he will get promotion. It's not accidentally somebody is going to get promoted. Same way, the Lord's karma is very, very intricate. So it is not based on just an accident. It is based on actual person's actions, what he has done in the past life and this life. Accordingly, is getting certain type of body. But anybody who's coming from any background whatsoever, no one is barred in this world. No one is barred in getting to the highest, supreme destination, going back to Godhead, going back to Vaikuntha or Goloka, highest planet where Lord Krishna resides. No one is barred. That means even the Sudras, Vaisyas, even the lowest, even not only Sudras, but even Chandalas, even those who are dog eaters or the snake eaters, whatever the case may be, no one is barred. Clearly, Krishna is, that's why my devotees are purified in this section. Mami Partha Vyapasritya. But how will you get purified? By taking shelter of his pure devotees. So we will see the pastimes by taking the shelter of the pure devotees. Without that, there is no possibility of going back to Godhead. There is no possibility of getting purified. We'll see Narada Muni's example, we'll see Lord Nityananda Prabhu's example of purifying the various personalities, and we'll see the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example, almost 4 or 5 pastimes we are going to cover. So that is the main point, today's point. How? By taking shelter of the pure devotee, especially the advanced devotee or pure devotee. So that's why here I mentioned Chandala Dvijasreshto Hari Bhakti Parayana. Even if he is Chandala, whatever the lowest background, even them they can be delivered. Prabhupada quotes and our Acharyas quote the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam about, and because this is continuation from the previous section. In the previous section, we see that even if somebody commits accidental mistakes, sinful activity or whatever, abominable activities for a devotee, what is it? Apiche suduracharo bhajate mam ananyavad. If he is a pure devotee, unalloyed devotion service, but he performs accidental, not everyday thing. Accidentally, he is considered still. Devotee is considered, he will be purified in a matter of time. That Krishna is assuring, my devotee never perishes. But in this connection now, Arjuna is asking, indirectly is asking, what is so remarkable about your devotee by accidental fall down getting purified? What is so remarkable? Then here that's why it is mentioned. Lord Krishna never liked any devotee, even if somebody, any devotee to be criticized or talked about in terms of their caste or their lineage or what kind of body they have. Lord Krishna doesn't tolerate anyone who is criticizing his devotees based on his type of body or based on the. That's why you can see that there is nowhere in this world any other, I don't know, any other sampradaya has, but especially in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, in ISKCON, we see that everybody has a chance to get back to Godhead, get purified, whether it's women or whatever background, no considerations, because that is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing. Chirada Tattam Nijagupta Vittam Apamaram Vitatara Gaura Krishna Janebhya Aham Prapadde. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describing this is Krishna directly himself as appearing as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This has not been given before. No one can give Krishna Prema, only Krishna can give. Krishna can give. Even Lord Vishnu couldn't give, that's why Lord Nityananda, Lord Advaita Acharya had to call Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu separately. Liberation can be given. Liberation to Vaikuntha planets and in the what is Sarashti, Samipya, Salokya, Sarupya, same planet as the Lord. That is still Vaikuntha, Aishwarya, on reverence, master servant. But specifically going back, especially attaining Krishna Prema beyond, there's Pancha Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are four. Chaturveda Purushartha, people only know this. But actually there is higher goal. For devotees, especially this higher goal is attaining Krishna Prema. Actual, real, genuine love for the Lord, and automatically that transforms into each and every relationship we have. Unless Krishna is in the center, you can't transform any other relationship into a loving relationship. However, we may try, there are always agitation. There is always some material modes are acting. Always. So that's why it has to, Krishna has to be in the center. So that's why in this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is mentioned that Chirada Dattam, it's been very long, long time. It's not been given. Chiradadattam Nijagupta Vittam. So his own confidential, it is own because Lord Krishna doesn't give easily his bhakti, especially Krishna Prema. Because once he gives, he is sold to that person. Like Yasodama is able to bind Krishna. And you see, he is there with Pandavas for a few months. So all these pastimes only with his pure devotees. He is not there with all of us, because we are not pure yet. So that's why once he gives, that's it. That's why it is not given so easily. But no one is born. If you under the guidance of the pure devotee, if you perform devotion service, always following his instruction, then you are guaranteed to get Krishna Prema, guaranteed to go back to Godhead. So that's why under the association of devotee, one must conduct devotion service. One must follow the instructions very, very carefully, attentively. To that degree, we will go back to Godhead in the same life. Or to the degree until we don't follow, to that degree we have to stay back here in this world and go through this process again and again. So Chirada Dattam Nijagutta Viryam Swapremna Vitata so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. That's why it's very, very important to surrender. Yeah. Swapremna Nama Amrutam Ati Udara. Nama Amrutam. He has given this by simply chanting the holy name of the Lord Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can go back to Godhead. Everyone. Apamaram, even the lowest, Apamaram, Pamara, lowest, Apamaram, Yo Vitatara Gaura, Krishna Janebhya Tam Aham Prapadde. That's to that personality I'm offering obeisances. So that's why, by because of this mercy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given, and through our acharyas. So that's why nowhere in other sampradaya you will not see. They can't even come to the altar. They can't do anything. They can't do Gayatri. But in our sampradaya, Sri Prabhupada specifically has given even second initiation, Diksha, Gayatri to even women disciples. Second initiation is given. And especially only except India, because that's why this verse sometimes people think why Krishna is saying lower birth, why is he calling out women, Vaisyas, all these things. But it is based on the outside in India, especially the Sparta business is there. People has this opinion. That's why all these things are there in the past. That's why people are doesn't want. Some people doesn't want to even come to temple because of this kind of caste system. The divisions. The divisions are created because just like the body has a division, the brain department, intelligence department, you have belly department, stomach, which is the hands department is administrative, the intelligence is the brain, then you have worker, the legs, and then the stomach is the vaisyas. So the yeah, mm, intelligent class, then administrative class, agriculture class, third one, that is the stomach, and then the worker class, fourth one. So in this way, four departments are there, from brain to hands to stomach to legs. Four department has to work together. For that reason, divisions are created. It's not For a caste, it's not to show off anything. It's not for that purpose. But that's what it has become. So that's why on that basis this kind of this verse is mentioned. But underlying fact is Supreme Lord is saying, but anybody can attain Krishna Prema easily, provided they chant the holy name of the Lord, provided they take up the process of bhakti under the guidance of pure devotee. That's why it is mentioned, Yo Vitatarago. Namamrutam Ati Udar. By simply chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can go back to Godhead. So everybody has to can go back to God, provided they are very sincerely following under the guidance of pure devotee. So that's why Vyapasritya means Vishesha Rupena Asritya. So very special care and special attention. Special care and special attention. We have to have a proper respect for the pure devotee of the Lord or his representatives and following instruction. Then because why Lord Krishna is facing the pure devotee? Because he is always running behind. Before that, it is who are these lowest people? What is the guarantee? That's why Srimad Bhagavatam quotes the one verse where the lowest people are mentioned, names, categories of people. Kirata Hunanda Pulinda Pukkasa Avira Sambhayava Kashadaya Innecha Papa Edupashrayashraya Sudhyanti Tasmai Prabhu Vishname Namah. Kirata. This Kirata race is coming from Africans. Africans where they eat all kinds of things. Or sometimes they live in the forest. Every country has aborigines, so they're all coming under this Kirata. And Hunandra, these are Eastern Germany and Russia tribe. Hunandra. I myself know in my office there is a Hun, Sona, so the similar category. Pulinda, Greeks, and Abira, situated on river Saraswati in Sindh. That is Abira province. Yavana, Turks, Turkish people coming under Yavana. And Kasares, Mongolians and Chinese. And Andhra is still there. I'm from Andhra. So all these categories are mentioned. All this, even though they might be at the lowest where they might be eating anything and everything, pretty much anything moving. So, but they all can be purified. Suddhanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. That's why one must take only which is things are offered to Krishna. We are before we eat anything. So obviously you can take non-vegetarian, you can take onion, garlic, all those things you can't offer. But anything vegetarian without onion, garlic, then without egg, then you can offer. So at least the quick process is just chanting 3 times Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. If you are taking outside restaurant, that's fine. But provided these things are not there, no onion, garlic, no eggs, no meat, then you can still do that. Because sometimes we have to travel, we may have to do that. So that's why it is mentioned Suddhanti Tasmai Prabha Vishname Namaha. As soon as one chants Lord Vishnu's name, then he gets purified, even though he might be from the lowest background. So that's why this verse is quoted. Now coming back to the yeah, how will we go back to God? And why Krishna is mentioning the pure devotee? Because he himself is running behind the pure devotees. In Uddhava, to Uddhava, Lord Krishna is explaining himself. Nirapeksham munim santam nirvayanam samadarsanam anuvrajami aham nityam puye eti angri renubi. With the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds which are situated within me. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees, who are free from all personal desire, wrapped in thought of my pastimes, peaceful, without any feelings of enmity, and of equal disposition everywhere. Nirapeksham. They don't have any desires. All their desires is of how to carry on his Guru's, Prabhupada's instruction and Lord Krishna's instruction. That's all they're constantly thinking how to do, what to do, how to improve, how to please previous acharyas. This is their duty. So that's why Lord is running behind them. He's taking their dust. Nirapeksha munim chantam. They are very peaceful. They're always desiring in this way. So nirvairam. Neither they are envious of anyone. Is equal to all. So and samadarsinam. Yeah, is equal to all. No enviousness. Anuvrajami aham nityam. Lord Krishna himself. I am always running behind these pure devotees, taking their dust with the dust of my devotees. Who is angry Renubi, wrapped in thought of my pastime, peaceful, without any feelings of enmity and equal disposition everywhere. So that's why it is so important. And further, Krishna mentions to Uddhava, No one is dear, even more than Lord Brahma, Lord Sankarshan, Lord Shiva, even my consort Lakshmi Devi. You are more dear, is telling to Uddhava. Uddhava is a devotee of the Lord. Na tata me priyatama atma yonir na sankara. Na cha sankarshano na sri naivatma cha yata bhavan. My dear Uddhava, neither Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Sankarshan, the goddess of fortune, are indeed my own self, are as dear to me as you are. So his Lord is always thinking, my own, my own. So that's why this conception should be there. Lord Krishna is mine, I am his. That means he is the only enjoyer. I am always thinking of his service. I am always thinking, trying to please him. So that should be our ultimate goal. I am his and he is mine. So in that way, that deep love, deep connection is there, as we have with our children. So same way. So that's the only way to obtain is through his causeless love, and Lord is always most lovingly inclined toward those devotees who are most dependent on him. Prabhupada gives example, child. You may have, 5 kids or 10 kids, whatever, or 2 kids, 3 kids, 1 kid, more than one, obviously. So then, but out of them, if one is who's crying, who's really need of father or mother, then mother or father immediately run to that child because he is really dependent. The other kid is all on his own, he's playing, he doesn't need. So one who is really dependent on him, then the father mother is the same way. Supreme Lord also is affectionate to all, is giving material facilities to everyone. But those who really dependent on him, who's really crying, they really want his guidance and his mercy, his instruction, then Lord is after them because Lord is reciprocating. So it is not out of partiality. It is more based on his real dependence. One who is really dependent. These pure devotees are always depending on Lord, always thinking of Lord's in loving relationship. That's why Lord is also reciprocating in the same way. So that's why Narada Muni himself is giving the example that and then how to chant by chanting the holy name of the Lord and by hearing, by taking the association of pure devotees, how he got purified himself, and then even especially grihasthas, those who are in the this grihastha ashram, so how they can be delivered is also mentioned. एक नाम वासे तुम्हार पाप दुया ये बे आरे नाम लाइते कृष्ण चरण पाइबे. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised Subudhi Rai, begin chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When your chanting is almost pure, all your sinful reactions will go away. After you chant perfectly, you will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's why chanting the holy name of the Lord is very, very important. Further, Narada Muni is giving his own example. तावत् दास्यम् अहं जज्ञे तत्रापि ब्रह्मवादिनां शुश्रूषया अनुसंगेन प्राप्तो अहं ब्रह्म पुत्रताम्. Although I took birth as Sudra from the womb of maid servant, I am engaged in the service of Vaishnavas who are well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in this life, I got the opportunity to take birth as a son of Lord Brahma. So this is Narada Muni himself. He was a Upabarahana Gandharva. He was being cursed and he born as the son of a maid servant. Like you can consider as in the Sudra category, is worker. But still he got delivered by simply taking shelter of few devotees who came for 4 months period, Chaturmasa period, staying there. Then he just simply served. That's what he is mentioning here. And next verse is mentioning about the Grihasthas. धर्मस्ते गृहमेदीयो वर्णित पापनाशन गृहस्थो येन पदवीम अंजसा न्यासिनाम यत्. The process of chanting the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that by this chanting, even householders can very easily gain the ultimate result achieved by persons in the renounced order. Maharaj Yudhishthira, so he's explaining to Maharaj Yudhishthira. In this way, we can understand even anybody by simply taking the process of bhakti. By no other process, you'll be able to get delivered apart from bhakti. So by using karma kanda vichar, you will go to higher planets. By using dhyana, at the most, after so difficult, after many, many lifetimes, you may attain Brahmajyoti, Brahman effulgence. But again, there, this is not permanent. You will fall down from there. So only when you cross over this even Viraja or Brahman effulgence, enter into spiritual world, then only you are getting to the actual shelter. Just like if people go in rocket or spaceship, if there is no shelter, they can't stay. So they need shelter. That's why even there, Prabhupada was giving example. Even after going there in some place out in the outer space, they are looking where is my Moscow, where is Japan, where is Hong Kong. They are looking even there. So if they got the shelter there, if they because all the higher planets have so much opulence, much more than what is here. If they got shelter there, then they wouldn't be looking for where is Moscow. If there is so much enjoyment there. It's just they haven't gone there to the moon planet, what they have been. So that is an indication because you need to have proper qualification. Anyway, now we'll read the pastimes from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first, because in this verse is mentioned how the Vaisyas also get delivered. So we'll read that verse, that pastime also. Then we can understand. So this one is those who are is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is delivering two categories of people here. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद. One day they met a sinful toll collector. He enjoyed harassing pilgrims crossing the river on their way to Puri. For no apparent reason, Gauranga suddenly charged like a mad lion to the back of a line of pilgrims. Nityananda and other devotees followed the Lord. They saw that the wicked toll collector had arrested and chained up some pilgrims. Gauranga felt unhappy to see them suffering and crying in agony. The pilgrim felt relieved when they saw the compassionate Lord. They felt peaceful like a fearful child placed on his mother's lap, or forest animal jumping into the Ganga to get relief from a blazing fire. Falling at Lord Chaitanya's feet, they cried in happiness. Upon seeing Lord Gauranga, the toll collector thought, I have never seen such a splendid sannyasi. He must be none other than Nilachal Chandra, Lord Jagannath. What will happen to me for the trouble I have caused these pilgrims? The toll collector offered prostrated obeisance to Lord Chaitanya and then said in choked voice, please don't hate me because I am a materialist. I promise I will no longer use the tax the pilgrims. I am convinced that you are the one and only Supreme Lord Himself. Lord Chaitanya accepted his promise and praised with smile. There he ran quickly forward, passing the other pilgrims. Suddenly the toll collector, while waving both hands above his head, came running after Lord Gauranga. The Lord, however, prevented him from coming further. So the toll collector stopped. Keeping his hands above his head, he started chanting over and over, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The toll collector became overwhelmed with the bliss of Krishna consciousness. Symptoms of spiritual ecstasy like copious tears and horripilation appeared in his body. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar became jubilant to witness this. So in this way, the toll collector, even though he was sinful, lowest background, but still he was being delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Further, this is another pastime of another toll collector. At that time, Mukunda Datta said, I know that from now on we have nothing to fear from any toll collectors. Smiling slightly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what shall I say, Mukunda? I have taken shelter of sannyas order. What can a toll collector to do to me? Mukunda said, still, that last toll collector gave you trouble. Lord Chaitanya said, listen, Mukunda, all my relatives will protect me. The Lord quoted a verse from Santi Sataka. Patient is one's father. The important qualities. Patience is one's father. Forgiveness is one's mother. Eternal peace is one's wife. Truth is one's son. Kindness is one's sister. Control of the mind is one's brother. The earth is one's bed. The 10 directions are one's clothing. Nectarian knowledge is one's food. With a blissful smile, Hari said, if these are one's relatives, then please tell me, my friend, how can we be afraid of anything? These relatives have carefully carried me this far. Then Gaura, Gadadhar, and a few other devotees went from door to door to collect alms. In the meantime, a wicked toll collector imprisoned Mukunda and the rest of the Lord's traveling party. He bound Mukunda in chains and held everyone captive all day. Since they had no money, that merciless, sinful toll collector snatched their blankets and released them. After collecting alms, Lord Chaitanya met Mukunda and the rest of the party. Falling prostrate at Gauranga's feet, Mukunda Datta said, Lord, your glories are inestimable. Recently I told you that I wasn't afraid of the toll collectors, but now we suffered at the hands of one. We understand that you are God, but we act like we don't know it. To learn a lesson, I received pain from that man. Gadadhar told Gaurachandra about Mukunda's misfortune. The Lord commented briefly, Mukunda, don't worry. Everything will turn out for the best. Later that night, the son of Sachi appearing in the dream of the chief toll collector, the Lord was lying on the bed. Let me mute. Okay. Lord was lying on the bed of Ananta in the middle of the milk ocean. Lakshmi and Saraswati are massaging his feet. The four Kumaras, Lord Brahma and other demigods stood at distance offering prayers. Then Lord Vishnu, dressed as a sannyasi, spoke to chief toll collector. One of your men has put my devotees into distress. Seeing this majestic dream perplexed and frightened the chief toll collector, he awoke abruptly and ran to meet Sri Gaurahari, Gaur Gopal, Lord Chaitanya. After offering Dandavats, he said, "You are the Lord who performs pastimes in the ocean of milk. In order to deliver the living entities, you have appeared in this world and taken sannyas. You are the moon illuminating the dense darkness of material existence. You are the ultimate goal of all Vedic knowledge." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and said, "Very soon Lord Krishna will shower his mercy on you." Then he put his feet on the head of the chief toll collector. Immediately the man became infused with ecstatic love of God. He jumped up and danced exuberantly with arms raised high in the sky. That's why we raise hands, because when you are helpless, then only you raise hands. Otherwise, you think that you are qualified yourself and you are scholar, you have riches, you have everything. You don't need God, you don't need Guru, you don't need to depend on mercy. So that's why we raise the hands whenever we chant. That we are helpless, we are dependent on you, Krishna. That's why we raise the hands. That is been mentioned here. Then he put his feet on the head of the chief toll collector. Immediately the man became infused with ecstatic love of God. He jumped up and danced exuberantly with arms raised high in the sky. Lord Gauranga then empowered him to preach Krishna consciousness in that province. At the time, the devotees addressed the chief toll collector. "One of your men stole our blankets and put us in misery." Ashamed to hear this, the chief toll collector pleased the devotees by giving them new blankets. Then he paid obeisance to everyone and went home. He spent the rest of life worshipping the Lord in his home and performing Sankirtan day and night. So, in this way, you can see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, how he is freely distributing. In no other time, this has been distributed. That's why Chiradadattam. It's been a very long, long time. Krishna Prema is not so easily given. But now, at least for until 10,000 years, this Sankirtan movement will be there. So, we must take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if you want mercy. So now we'll read from yeah about the Vaisyas, how the Vaisyas got delivered, as in this verse specifically called out. Sriyo Vaisya Tata Sudra. Lord Nityananda for his mercy. Hata dine taki Nityananda Kadadahe Saptagrama Ilena Sarva Ganasahe. After passing some days at Kadadaha, Nityananda went with his associate to Saptagrama. In the village of Saptagram, there is a place associated with 7 sages known throughout the world as Triveni Ghata. The confluence of Ganga, Saraswati, Yamuna is known as Triveni even today. The riverbed of Yamuna is still found near Kancharapada. Some time ago, the river used to flow in the Triveni Sangam. Reports that Yamuna riverbed existed near Govardhanga are still current. Anyway, सेई गंगा घाटे पूर्वे सप्त ऋषि गण तपे करी पैलेना Govinda Charan. The 7 sages previously performed austerities and attained the lotus feet of Govinda on the bank of Ganga at this place. The 3 goddesses Jahnavi, Yamuna and Saraswati merged together at this place. This place is renowned throughout the world as Triveni Ghata. By taking darshan of this place, all one's sins are destroyed. Nityananda Prabhuvara Paraman Anande Sei Gate Snana Karilena Sarva Munde. Nityananda and his associate took bath at his Gata in great ecstasy. Uddarana Datta Bhagyavantera Mandire Rahilena Tata Prabhu Triveni Ratire. Lord Nityananda stayed on the bank of Triveni at the house of the fortunate Uddarana Datta. Uddarana Datta sincerely worshipped the feet of Nityananda with his body, mind, and speech. Kaya Mana Vakya Nityanandera Charana Bajilena Akaitave Datta Uddarana. Uddarana Datta is the chief of this Vaisya community, mercantile community. So, by serving in this way, body, mind, speech, that means full surrender. He served Nityananda Prabhu. Then, by this, we can see not only him, but the whole community got liberated by Nityananda Prabhu. That's why one must, body, mind, speech means you can't fake it. Bhakti is not external, it is internal. So, that means your mind and body, speech must be there with intense devotion. Nityananda Sarupera Seva Adhikar, Pailena Uddarana Chiba Bhagyatanra. How fortunate was Uddarana who achieved the opportunity of serving Nityananda Sarup. Janma Janma Nityananda Sarupa Iswara, Janma Janma Uddharana Tanhara Kinkara. Both birth after birth, Nityananda Sarupa was his master, and birth after birth, Uddharana Datta was his servant. यतेक वाणिक कुला उदाहरण हईते पवित्र हिला द्विधा नाहिका याते. There is no doubt that the entire mercantile community was delivered by Uddharana Datta because his relation with Lord Nityananda, because him serving, then whole community got delivered. So that's a Lord how merciful he is. We can see. Lord Nityananda advented to deliver the mercantile community, gave them the qualification to develop ecstatic love of God. वाणिक तारी थे नित्यानंद अवतार वाणी के दिला प्रेम भक्ति अधिकार. Nitai Chandra would personally enjoy Kirtan pastime in the house of all the merchants in Saptagram. All the merchants took shelter at the lotus feet of Nityananda and worshipped him in all respects. Vanik Sakala Nityananda Charana Sarva Bhave Baji Lena Laya Saran. So by taking shelter of Lord Nityananda, because he is the Adi Guru, without him, the whole spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, even our Lord comes here, Lord Krishna, Bhaumo Vrindavan. So that is expansion of Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram, before Lord Krishna comes, Lord Balaram appears. Even Devaki was there. Lord Balaram was born before Lord Krishna, elder brother. So because he has to purify, that's why he is the it is called cultivation of the land, just like the agriculture. Land has to be first tilled and everything. That is done by Lord Balaram. That land is nothing but this place of action, our body. The soul is there within the tenth tip of the hair, very small, in the heart. So that heart has to be cleansed. Then who will do it? Before Krishna can reside, before Krishna Prema can be awakened, Lord Balram has to give his mercy. Then once he purifies, then we'll be able to come to that stage. That's what we need. This February 2nd, Thursday, is Nityananda Trayodasi, very, very important day. Nityananda Balram. So fasting till noon. We should plan according to 7 to 9, we have temple program. Tuesday is Ekadasi, Wednesday is Varaha Dwadasi, Thursday back to back. Ekadasi we fast completely till noon. For Wednesday is Varaha Dwadasi, because on Dwadasi we have to break the fast so that we can fast. So that we fast till noon on Ekadasi itself for Varaha Dwadasi. And then again Thursday is fasting till noon. So if you are diabetic, you can take. If you cannot stay, you can take fruits, nuts, milk, all those things you can take. Dates for Nityananda also if you can't stay. Further, all the people of entire world became astonished on seeing the merchant's devotion service to Krishna. Nityananda Prabhavera Mahima Apara Vanik Adharma Mukhya Yei Kaila Nastar. The glories of Nityananda Prabhu are unlimited. He delivered even the foolish, degraded merchants. Because you are born to make mistakes, you are born to cheat. Because that's just the nature of business is. There is some ratio of something to be used in how much you sell and all. But despite that, still there is a tendency to cheat much more because who doesn't want money? So that's why you mentioned here. Sapta Grama Prabhavare Nityananda Raya Gana Saha Sankirtana Karena Lilaya. Lord Nityananda enjoyed Sankirtan pastime with his associates at Saptagram. The Kirtan pastime that took place in Saptagram cannot be described even in 100 years. Saptagram became filled with the same ecstasy that had previously filled the entire district of Nadia. Whether day or night, people did not feel the urge of hunger, thirst, fear, or sleep. All directions were filled with the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Nityananda Prabhu enjoyed Kirtan pastimes in every house, every neighborhood, every village. So there was no one in this world who has not overwhelmed on the seeing the ecstatic mood of Nityananda Swarup. What to speak of others, even Yavanas who were inimical to Vishnu took shelter at the lotus feet. Yavanera Nayane Dikiya Prema Dhara Brahmane O Apanake Karena Dikka. When the Brahmanas saw the Yavanas' tears of ecstatic love, they considered themselves, they condemned themselves. All glories to Avadhuta Chandra Mahasay, Nityananda Ram, by whose mercy all such pastimes took place. Jai Jai Avadhuta Chandra Mahasay, Anahara Krupaya Hena Saha Rangahai. यही मत्त सप्तग्रामे अंबुय मुल्लुके विहारेण नित्यानंद स्वरूपे कौतुके. In this way, Nityananda Swarupa happily enjoyed pastimes in Saptagram and Ambuy Mullik. So, this is one pastime where this specific one is called out, as in this verse we are seeing. Now we'll read the pastime of the another one. Dacoits were so sinful, but still Nityananda Prabhu has delivered them as well. So this is also again glories of the chanting of the holy name. by association of devotee. In this case, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as devotees to deliver all by simply giving Krishna prema. So that's why without mercy of pure devotee, spiritual master, so we can't get, because they are the ones. They Brahmanda Rupe, Bhaktivan Jiv. Guru Kripa Krishna by Bhakti Lata Beach. Unless we get the seed of bhakti sown in the heart by the spiritual master, we really can't grow in devotion service. So that's why we need associate. That's why it is very important, as in this verse. Vyapasritya means one must take shelter. Then anybody can be delivered. And following instructions, by serving them, by hearing attentively, and following their instruction is the key here. And so, further here, we are reading from this pastime. Navadvip is just like the capital city of Mudra. No one knew how many people lived there. There are so many pious people that simply by seeing them, sinful people became liberated from all sinful reactions. Mainly, sinful people also lived among them. Simply by touching their shadows, all one's religious principles were destroyed. Yet, by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, they were also brought to the path of pure Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya personally delivered many living entities, and through Nityananda, he delivered the three worlds. In some way or the other, Nityananda delivered the thieves, the rogues, the fallen, the wretched. Now listen to the topics how Nityananda Prabhu delivered the dacoits. In Navadvip, they lived one particular Brahmana's son who had no equal among the dacoits and rogues. यथा चोर दस्यु तारा महासेनापति नामे से ब्राह्मण अति परम कुमति. He was the leader of all dacoits. That evil-minded person was a Brahmana in name only. Paravade daya matra nahika sarire nirantar dasyu gana samati vihare. He mercilessly killed others, always remained in the company of other dacoits. One time he saw that Nityananda Sarupa was decorated with divine necklaces and ornaments made of gold, corals, and jewels and pearls. In another pastime, it is mentioned all these ornaments are mentioned as 9 types of devotion service. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedam. That 9 limbs of devotion service, those 9 limbs are 9 ornaments Lord Nityananda Prabhu wearing, is been told in the Chaitanya Bhagavat itself. प्रभुर श्री अंग देखी बहुविधा धना हरिले कैलास दस्यु ब्राह्मणेर मना. On seeing the various valuable ornaments on Lord's body, the dacoit Brahmana decided to steal them. Wherever Nityananda went, that Brahmana stealthily followed him for the purpose of stealing his wealth. Nityananda, a super soul in everyone's heart, knew the intentions of that wicked-minded Brahmana. In Navadvip, there lived one qualified Brahmana named Hiranya Pandit, who had no material assets. Nityananda left his associate and quietly resided in the house of the fortunate Hiranya Pandit. As I'm reading, I remember there was Prabhupada pastime also. I think this is in Vrindavan. There's one person like this has come. He stole some things and police came to catch him. But then he took shelter of Mr. Prabhupada and his devotees. Then Mr. Prabhupada said, all right, for now, we'll give him. So they let police go. And because he surrendered, so they let him go. Then Prabhupada said, make sure you don't commit again. You properly follow the process. What is supposed to be done at the temple, all other devotees follow them. Then he said, yes, yes, yes. And after a month or so, again, he started doing the same things. So then he was caught again. So he was stealing things from temple and trying to sell and whatnot. Then that time, then they tried to tell him that still is doing. Then Prabhupada told him, then call the police, and then they gave him back to police. You can see, so Prabhupada is so merciful as like Lord Nityananda Prabhu, but if he still somebody doesn't want to follow, then what can be done? No one can do. But Srila Prabhupada is so merciful, even to accept anybody coming, just like Lord Ramachandra has accepted, even though Vibhishan was coming from Ravana's kingdom, but still everybody was hesitated, but Lord Ramachandra took. So immediately said, anyone, even if enemy, even Ravana comes right now, I will accept him. I will give even Ayodhya to him. So he is ready to relinquish even his place. And that is the Lord's mercy, very compassionate, especially Lord Nityananda is very, Balram is very, very merciful, more merciful than Krishna. And the spiritual master, whose expansion of Nityananda is even more merciful than Lord Nityananda. So that's why we take shelter of the spiritual master, Prabhupada. So wherever Nityananda went, the Brahmanas stealthily followed him for the purpose of stealing his wealth. Nityananda, a super soul in everyone's heart, knew the intentions of this wicked-minded Brahmana. In Navadvip, there lived one qualified Brahmana named Hiranya Pandit, who had no material assets. Nityananda left his associates and quickly resided in the house of this fortunate Hiranya Pandit. The sinful Brahmana, who was most wicked, he gathered other dacoits and made a plan. Oh, brothers, why they are still suffering? Goddess Chandi has provided for us a treasure in one place. The ornaments decorating the body of this Avadut are all made of gold, pearls, and diamonds. I cannot say how many hundreds of thousands of rupees these ornaments are worth. The goddess Chandi has brought them together in one place. He lives alone in the house of Hiranya. We can go there and take everything within an half an hour. He doesn't know that Chandi is a servant of Nityananda Prabhu. Chandi is one of the names of Durga Devi. Say 8 or 10 names she has, so that is also one of the names. Collect your sword, shields, for tonight we will raid that house. After making plans in this way, the dacoits waited for the night and then set out for the house. Equipped with swords and knives and trident, they gathered near the houses where Nityananda was staying. So these dacoits all waited at one place where they sent a spy to check out the situation. Nityananda Prabhu was taking his meal and the devotees were chanting the name of Hari in the four directions. Another thing I remember in Mayapur Dham, this pastime, when my Guru Maharaj Holiness Jai Pataka Swami went there, was given by Sri Prabhupada that go and take care of Mayapur. And then at that time, somehow some agitation came. These locals, especially I think Muslims or some group of people created a big havoc and they came with guns and whatnot, tried to steal the deities, and it was a big this thing. Then they consulted Sri Prabhupada, then Guru Maharaj went throughout the big Harinam Sankirtan, gathered the local people, and it was a huge Harinam Sankirtan from that simply chanting the holy name of the Lord, taking all these people through that area. Then after that, that incident didn't happen, and then now preaching is everywhere. So many Nam Hattas, the whole Bengal, Bangladesh, it spread. So many Nam Hattas, mostly chanting, coming together in a specific each and every village. They come together and perform kirtan once a week or twice a week at certain time. So and then they will perform celebration. They may not come to temple. They may come once a year or whenever they get. But otherwise, they all gather together in that specific village and place. So, but that Sankirtan, chanting the holy name together on the streets, has automatically helped in establishing the peace, making even so now that's why you say in Mayapur, everybody, so many people come, even Muslims also come. Prabhupada said, yes, anyone can come and chant. They can do their namaz 5 times a day, no problem. But they should follow. They should follow the chanting of the holy name. They should follow also for regulatory principles. Then they can stay. They can do their namaz, no problem. Prabhupada said. So, because we are, they can chant whatever name they want, but they need to follow these standards. Because that is what love of God that means. You can't just keep on committing simple activities. You do whatever you like, then you just can't do it. Then you're not following the actual instructions of the spiritual master. Further here in this pastime, where would we? Yeah. After making plans in this way, the dacoits waited for the night and then set out for the house. Equipped with swords and knives and trident, they gathered near the house where Nityananda was staying. These dacoits all waited at one place while they sent a spy to check out the situation. Nityananda was taking his meal, and the devotees were chanting the name of Hari in the four directions. Krishna Nande Matta Nityananda Vrutya Gana Keha Kare Simhanada Kehava Gajjana. The servants of Nityananda were so intoxicated in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness that some of them roared like lions and some thundered. Because the constant Sankirtan goes on. So wherever the Lord is. Some cried in the mellows of ecstatic love, while others laughed loudly and clapped their hands. Others called out, "Hi, hi!" In the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, no one slept. The spy returned and said to the dacoit, "The Avadut is taking his meal and others are all awake." The dacoits replied, "Let them eat and go to sleep. We will wait a while and then raid the house." All the dacoits sat under a tree, satisfied that they would soon plunder someone's wealth. One of them said, "I will take his gold bracelets." Another said, "I will take his pearl necklace." Someone else said, "I will take his earrings." One said, "I will take his gold necklace." Someone said, I will take his silver ankle bells. In this way, they all dreamt about the wealth they expected to get. By the will of Nityananda, at that time, the goddess of sleep cast her glance on the dacoits. After all the dacoits fell asleep at that place. They became practically unconscious in deep sleep. They were so bewildered by the Lord's potency that they did not wake up even when the night had passed. Then the crows began to call out, and the dacoits awoke. They were all unhappy to see that night had already passed. They quickly hid their swords and shields in the forest and went to take bath in Ganga. Thereafter, the dacoits abused each other as they returned to their homes. One dacoit said, "You fall asleep fast." First, another replied, as if you are awake. Another said, "Why are you quarreling? Chandi has saved us from embarrassment." The sinful Brahmana, who was the leader of dacoits, said, "Why quarrel anymore? Whatever has happened took place by the will of Chandi. We lost only one day, but there will be others. I think Chandi has bewildered us today because we went without first worshipping her. Let us go together and properly worship Chandi with wine and meat." This is what the worship of Chandi means. They will drink and whatever they want to do, they will do, and then they will offer some meat. That's what they will do. So after making plans in this way, all the dacoits worshipped Chandi with wine and meat. The next day, the dacoits took up various weapons. They dressed in blue cloth and looked like brave heroes. In the dead of night, when everyone was asleep, the dacoits surrounded the house. As the dacoits came near the house, they saw that it was guarded by many soldiers. These soldiers were armed. They surrounded the house on all four sides and they constantly chanted the name of Hari. Parama Prakanda Murti Save Uddanda Nana Astradhari Save Parama Prachanda. They had large, powerful bodies and they looked most formidable, being equipped with various weapons. सर्व दस्युगण देखे तारा तारा एको जने सत जनो मारिते paraye sei क्षणे. The dacoits could see that each of those soldiers was powerful enough to kill 100 people in a moment. They all had flower garlands. Their bodies were smeared with sandalwood paste. They continuously engaged in congregation chanting of the holy names. सहार गलाय माला सर्वांगे चंदन निरवधि करी चेचे नाम संकीर्तन नित्यानंद प्रभुवर आचेन सयने चतुर्दिके कृष्ण गाय से सव गणे. Nityananda Prabhu was sleeping as the soldiers chanted the names of Krishna in the four directions. On seeing the situation, the dacoits were struck with wonder. They went away from the house and sat down to one side. This is the second time bewilderment. So that's why, by the mercy of Lord, everything can be adjusted. Our family life, office, everything. But we have to take shelter. Then only things can change, and we should be ready to accept His instructions. Sarva dasyu gane yukti lagile karite kota kara padaita aila etate. Then the dacoits all began to discuss among themselves, from where have all these soldiers come? One dacoit said, Avadota must have somehow understood our plan and borrowed those soldiers from someone. Another said, "Oh brothers, I have heard from a number of people that this Avadota is very wise. This Avadota Mahasaya is so intelligent, he arranges for his own protection. Otherwise, these soldiers we saw did not even look like human beings. I think people call him Gosani because he has such a great influence." Someone else said, "Oh brother, you're a fool. How can one who eats and dresses like him be called a Gosani?" The Brahmana later on the record said, "I know the reason. Many influential persons come from all over to see this Avadut. A king's military commander has come from somewhere with many of his soldiers. Those soldiers are all sentimental and therefore they chant the names of Hari. Eka nahi kona padati kami take tabe kata dina yedaiva ei pake." This is not the right time. Since the soldiers are here, we will wait for a few days. So let us all go home today. Oh brothers, we will wait quietly for about 10 days. After their leaders spoke in this way, the dacoits all returned to their homes. Meanwhile, Avadhuta Chandra Prabhu continued to enjoy his pastimes. By remembering even those who worship the lotus feet of Nityananda, all obstacles are vanquished. Nityananda Charane Bajay Yei Jane Sarva Vigna Kande Taha Sahar Smarane. So by just remembering him, हेन नित्यानंद प्रभु विहरे आपने तानहारे करिते विघ्न परे कौन जाने. So when Nityananda Prabhu himself enjoys his pastime, who can create any obstacles? अविद्या कंडाए येन्द्र दासेर स्मरणे सेई प्रभुरे विघ्न करीवा कौन जाने. Who can place the impediment before the Lord when all ignorance is destroyed by remembering even his servant? सर्वगण सा विघ्न नाथ यांद्रा दास यांद्रा अंश रुद्र करे जगत विनाश. Yandra Amsa Nadite Bona Kampa Haya Hena Prabhu Nityananda Kare Tana Bhaya. Important point. Ganesha, the destroyer of all obstacles. Hear carefully. Ganesha, the destroyer of all obstacles, and his associates engage in his service. Rudra, his plenary portion, annihilates the universe. And when Ananta, his plenary portion, becomes restless, the entire universe trembles. How then can that Nityananda Prabhu afraid of anyone? So all they are under the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Shiva, Rudras, and Ganesha. Now you understand clear statement, clear verse from Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 5, from Antyakanda, part 2. So directly, we need any other proof? Further, continues. He freely performed kirtan throughout the Navadvip and he freely enjoyed pastimes of eating and sleeping. Yeah. When priceless ornament decorating his entire body, he looked just like Baladev, the son of Rohini. He chewed betel nuts mixed with camphor. His sweet smile enchanted people entire world. He fearlessly and happily wandered about everywhere in the company of devotees. The sinful dacoits soon made another plan and gathered near the house where Nityananda Chandra was staying. By the arrangement of Providence, it was completely dark that night because of dense cloud. No other persons were out that night. On the formidable night, each of those dacoits carried 5 to 10 weapons. As soon as they entered the courtyard of the house, they were completely blinded, unable to see anything. Those dacoits became so blind that they could not see a thing, and their life heirs, their intelligence, and their minds became paralyzed. Some fell into the trench, were bitten by leeches, insects, and bees. Some fell into the pit where food remnants were thrown and suffered from the bites of insects and scorpions. Some fell on thorns that pierced their entire body so they were unable to move. Some fell into a hole wherein their hands and legs were broken and they began to cry. Some of the dacoits they were afflicted by fever, but every one of them became frightened. At that time, the mischievous Indra sent a great rainstorm there. First, the dacoits suffered the bites of leeches and insects. Then they suffered further from the great rainstorm. Hail fell on them. Yet they did not die, but simply floated in an ocean of misery. Then one lightning bolt struck there, and they forgot themselves and lost consciousness out of fear. Because of heavy rain, the dacoits were completely soaked and began to shiver from the extreme cold. They were blinded and unable to see a thing, and now they suffered from great rainstorm and cold. Realizing that they had come to a trouble, Nityananda, the angry Indra, awarded them severe punishment. After some time, the Brahmana leader of these dacoits suddenly had a thought out of some good fortune. One day he bewildered us with sleep, yet we could not understand because of the influence of Lord's illusory energy. Another day he showed us the most wonderful soldiers, but still we did not come to our senses. This suffering is appropriate for sinful persons like us, for we try to plunder Lord's wealth. So who can protect me from this great danger? I have no shelter other than Nityananda. After thinking in this way, Brahmana meditated on to complete shelter of the lotus feet of Nityananda. Ei bhave dvija Nityananda Era Charan Chintiya Ekanta Bhave Laila Saran. This is the way one must take shelter of Nityananda. Sei Charane Chintile Apada Nahi Ara. Sei Kshane Koti Aparadira O Nistar. By meditating on his lotus feet, even one who has committed millions of offenses is immediately delivered from all difficulties. O Nityananda, O Sri Balagopal, please protect me. O Lord, you are the maintainer of all living entities. Please protect me. Raksha Raksha Nityananda Sri Balagopal, Raksha Kara Prabhu, Tumi Sarva Jiva Pala. Ye Jana Achada Prabhu Prithvi Te Kaya, Punascha Prithvi Tare Hayena Sahaya. O Lord, if a person falls forcefully to the ground, the earth again supports him. In the same way, the distress of one who commits offenses at your lotus feet is destroyed simply by remembering you. Ei matta te tomate aparada kare, sesha seho tumare smarane dukkha tare. Tumi sei jivera kshama sarva aparad, patita janera tumi karaha prasad. You forgive all offenses of the living entities and you bestow mercy on the fallen souls. I have killed brahmanas and cows. O Lord, there is no greater offender than me. If the most sinful person takes shelter of you, he is freed from all material bondage. O Lord, you protect all the living entities from the time of their birth and also at the time of their death. यही संकट आहिते प्रभु करा आजी रक्षा Yeji Jina Prabhu Tame Kaino Yehi Siksha. O Lord, please protect me from this calamity today. If I survive, I will remember this lesson. Bharta Prabhat, you are my Lord and I am your servant. Whether I live or die, I have no other desire. When the most merciful Nityananda Chandra heard these prayers, he delivered those dacoits. As the dacoits thought like this, they regained their eyesight. By the influence of surrendering Nityananda Sarupa, they were freed from the distress caused with rainstorm. Shortly thereafter, the dacoits found out their way and returned home almost dead. After returning home in this way, the dacoits immediately went to take bath in Ganga. The Brahmana, leader of the dacoits, then came crying to the lotus feet of Nityananda. The Nityananda, Lord of the universe, was sitting, casting his merciful glance on the fallen souls. Chaturdike Bhakta Gana Kare Hari Dhvani Anande Hunkar Kare Avaduta Mani. The devotees in the four directions were chanting the names of Hari, and the crest jewel of Avaduta roared in ecstasy. See Mahadasya Dvija Henai Samai Trahi Bali Bahutuli Dandavat Haya. At that time, the great dacoit Brahmana arrived there, raised his arms, called out, "Please protect me," and offered his obeisances. The hairs of the entire body stood on end. He shed incessant tears while his body trembled. He constantly roared and thundered in ecstatic love. That Brahmana lost all external consciousness as he cried. While seeing the opulence of Nityananda Swarup, he began to dance in joy. He raised his arms and repeatedly called out, "O Nityananda, deliverer of the fallen soul, save me." When everyone saw the behavior of the dacoit, they were struck with wonder and thought, "How could such a dacoit behave like this?" Someone said he must be playing some trick. Under his pretext, he may raid the house later. Someone else said Nityananda is the deliverer of the fallen souls. By his mercy, his heart has changed. On seeing the transformations of ecstatic love in that Brahmana, Nityananda smiled and inquired from him. The Lord said, "Tell me, O Brahmana, what kind of behavior is this? I see your behavior appears most wonderful. Did you see or hear something that gave you a realization of Krishna? Do not worry, tell everything frankly." Hearing the Lord's words, the fortunate Brahmana could not speak but continued to cry. He rolled on the ground throughout the courtyard. He spontaneously laughed, cried, danced, and sang. After some time, the Brahmana became pacified and began to speak to the Lord. "O Lord, I lived in this Nadia. Although I am known as Brahmana, my behavior is like that of a hunter or a dog eater. I always engage in thievery in the company of wicked people. Since birth, I have done nothing but committed violence to others. The people of Navadvip tremble in fear when they see me. There is no sin that I have not committed. When I saw that your body was decorated with valuable ornament, I decided to steal them. One day I brought my band of armed dacoit to steal the ornament from your divine body. That night, O Lord, you bewildered us with the sleep, but your illusory energy, I could not understand you. Another night we worshipped Chandi with various ingredients, then came with the choppers and knives and tridents. That night we saw something wonderful. The entire house was surrounded by soldiers. Each soldier was as powerful as manned elephant. They were all decorated with garlands that reached down to their knees. They all incessantly chanted the name of Hari as you blissfully slept inside the house. Yet our hearts were so sinful that we could not understand your glories. Yet we thought that the soldiers had come from another place. Thinking like this, we returned home that night. Then, after a few days, we came again last night, but as soon as we came, we lost our vision. When I entered the courtyard of the house with my band of dacoits, we all lost our vision and fell in various places. We suffered greatly from thorns, leeches, insects, rainstorm, and hail. Being afflicted in this way, we had no strength to return home. When we had thus suffered the punishment of Yamaraj, we eventually developed devotion to you. By your mercy, we remembered your lotus feet with full attention. Then our vision was restored. Such is your greatness, O deliverer of the fallen. That we are all released from such suffering is not the real benefit of remembering you. By remembering you, one is freed from all bondage of ignorance and easily attains the abode of Vaikuntha. As the Brahmana spoke, he cried loudly, "Such are the pastimes of Avadhuta Nityananda Prabhu." When everyone heard that what had happened, they were astonished. Then they all offered obeisance to the Brahmana. Vija Bale Prabhu, एक हमारा विदाया यही देहा rakite ara more nahi baya. The Brahmana replied, "O Lord, now let me go. It is not proper for me to keep this body any longer. Since I entered it to harm you, my atonement should be drown myself in the Ganga." On hearing the sincere words of Brahmana, the Lord and the devotee became pleased. The Lord said, "O Brahmana, you are most fortunate. You are certainly Krishna's servant, Bharta Prabhu. Otherwise, why would he bestow such mercy on you? Who other than his servant can see such opulence?" Chaitanya Goswami had appeared to deliver the fallen souls. There is no doubt about it. "Oh, listen, O Brahmana, I will relieve you of whatever sins you have committed if you do not commit them again. Give up the violence to others, stealing and other immoral activities. Do not do such things again. Lead a religious life and chant the names of Hari, then you can also deliver others. You should gather all the rogues and dacoits together and implore them, induce them to lead religious lives. After speaking these words, Nityananda took the garland from his neck and happily gave it to the Brahmana. Everyone chanted Jai Jai. In this way, Brahmana was relieved from all material bondage. The Brahmana caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and shed tears and lamented with great humility. O Nityananda Prabhu, deliverer of the fallen, please give this sinful person shelter at your lotus feet. Since I desired to harm you, what will be the fate of the sinful person? Nityananda Prabhu, the ocean of mercy, then placed his lotus feet on the Brahmana's head. Having received the Lord's lotus feet on his head, all of Brahmana's offences were nullified. By the influence of the Brahmana, all sorts of dacoits took shelter of Lord Chaitanya and led religious lives. They gave up thievery, violence to others, and immoral activities and behaved like great saintly persons. They all chanted the name of Hari. Sabai Layena, Harinama Laksha Laksha, Sabai Hairena Vishnu Bhakti Yoga Daksha. They all chanted the names of Hari thousands and hundreds of thousands of times, and they became expert in devotion service to Lord Vishnu. They became intoxicated with love for Krishna and constantly chanted Krishna's name. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is such an ocean of mercy. Krishna Prema Matte, Krishna Gana Niranta, Nityananda Prabhu Hena Karuna Sagar. The shelter of the Supreme Lord was not easily attainable in other incarnations, but Nityananda always induced everyone to surrender to Lord Chaitanya. Any Brahmana who does not accept Nityananda Swarupa is counted among the thieves and rogues. The transformations of ecstatic love desired by the best of the yogis, like shedding tears, shivering, hair standing on end, and roaring, were achieved by even thieves and rogues. Such was the potency of Nityananda. So, oh brother, just worship Nityananda Prabhu, by whose mercy one can attain Lord Gaurasundar. One who hears the topics of Nityananda Prabhu will attain the lotus feet of Gaurasundar. Yehi sunaye Nityananda Prabhu ra akhyana, tahare miliva Gaurachandra Bhagavan. दास्यु गणा मोचना यही चित्ता दिया सने नित्यानंद चैतन्य देखिले से जने. Anyone who hears these pastimes, topics of delivering dacoits, will see Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya. Jai. Nityananda Ram ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. What a magnanimous pastimes you can see. So we should follow what has been said in the last. We should chant seriously. We should associate and we should with devotees. We should follow the instructions of Sri Prabhupada. We should pray sincerely, catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. By His mercy, we will be able to attain Krishna Prema in this lifetime if we follow His instructions seriously and give up all the unwanted activities, as it is clearly stated, they are to dacoit. Don't commit again these things. Give up these things. So the dacoits are able to give up all these things. My internet is slow somehow. Anyway, so we'll stop here. Anyone has any questions? You can ask. Otherwise, we'll conclude here today.